Good morning, everyone. Welcome. This is August 7th, 2025, and you are attending the agenda meeting for the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. I am Commissioner Audrey Partridge, and I'll be chairing the meeting as our fearless leader, Chair Katie Sieben, is not here today, and Commissioner Sullivan is also not attending today. I will take the roll. Commissioner Tuma.
Here.
Commissioner Hom.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. We are ready. Our first item today, we will have Ms. Maxon introduce the item for Gopher State Solar Project. This is Ms. Maxon's first time, so congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. I just want to make sure I'm loud enough for everybody, since it seems like
I'm getting thumbs up.
sometimes that's not the case. But good morning, Chair Partridge and Commissioners. Thanks for your patience working with me. Item number 1 is docket number IP 7127/GS-24-106 in the matter of the application of Gopher State Solar LLC for a site permit for the up to 200 megawatt Gopher State Solar Project in Renville County, Minnesota. The questions before the Commission are: should the Commission adopt the administrative law judge's findings of fact, conclusions of law, and recommendations? Should the Commission find that the environmental assessment and the record created at the public hearing adequately address the issues identified in the scoping decision? And should the Commission grant a site permit for the 200 megawatt Gopher State Solar Project in Renville County? A brief note for the Commissioners: staff filed a revised briefing paper and a revised decision option from Commissioner Tuma on Tuesday, August 5th in e-dockets. I've placed some hard copies at your desks, and there are additional copies available here in the front of the room. Additionally, a copy of Commissioner Tuma's motion is available for the Commissioners, placed here in the front. Let me know if you would like me to bring it up for you. I have no further remarks, but I am available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maxon. And would we like parties to come forward?
Yes, if they could, please.
Okay, the company, let's see.
And also, Madam Chair, I believe the visitors are online, so if they want to turn their camera on, or if it's on or not, I don't know. And we can make sure they're there, because I will deal with that first and get them.
If the visitors are online, please turn your camera on if you can.
There is a camera on, so I don't know if that is the camera that's on.
It is? Okay, great.
It is, okay, good.
All right. Commissioner Tuma, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, it looks like Ms. Visser, we're going to get to you first, but why don't you just state your name for the record so we know that your camera is working, and then we'll ask a few questions if I could. Are you hearing us, Ms. Visser? We have technical glitches.
Okay. Should we come back to her?
Well, I want to make sure she's participating. That's
Sure.
That's why I decided to start with that first. So we are going to make sure Ms. Visser can actually hear us and respond, and so that we can proceed with an open meeting in an open fashion. Try speaking again, Ms. Visser. We're trying.
Ms. Visser, would you please try and speak, say something?
She's
Yep, I can hear you now. I was not able to hear you before, but.
You were muted.
Okay. I have an echo. I'm going to hang up my phone and just try and do it from my desktop.
Okay.
Make sure Ms. Visser can actually hear us and respond so that we can.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sorry for the disruption.
Nope.
Thank you.
So just state your name for the record so we have it on the record. That's all. First to start with, and I'll have a question later.
Can't hear you now.
Okay. You cannot hear me now. Can you hear us now, Ms. Visser? I'll feel like was a T-Mobile ad? Can you hear me now? We are hoping you can hear us, so I'm going to keep talking until you do. I don't really have any good bad jokes. That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it?
Madam Chair, would you like us to introduce ourselves while we're...
That sounds great. Thank you, Ms. Brusvin.
Good morning, Chair Partridge and Commissioners. Christy Brusvin appearing on behalf of Gopher State Solar, and I'll let the representatives from Gopher State introduce themselves as well.
Welcome to WebEx. Enter your access code or meeting number followed by pound.
Good morning, Chair Partridge and Commissioners. My name is Sergio Trevino. I'm Vice President of Siting for Ranger Power. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Partridge and Commissioners. Zane Jones. I'm an Assistant Development Manager with Ranger Power.
Great. All right.
Hey, Ms. Visser, I've heard noise over on your end of the line, so I don't know if you're hearing us now.
Ms. Visser, can you hear us? If you could nod. Okay. Let's take 2 minutes. Can we ask Ms. Visser, can we get her a message to use her phone? I think that audio is working. Her computer audio is not working, it appears. And the echo could be from her computer, so she mutes the computer and just uses the phone only. That might work. All right, we'll take 2 minutes for those who need to stretch their legs.
You're unmuted.
panelists, this is Mary Swoboda. I just wanted to let you know that we think there's an issue with the audio in the hearing room, so we are working on it right now.
Letting us know.
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mary, I can hear you now, but I can't hear the group.
Okay, so we are troubleshooting, and hopefully we'll get this resolved
Perfect.
quickly. My apologies for the issues, and stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for using WebEx. Visit our website at www.webex.com. Welcome to WebEx.
Mary, can you hear me?
So Hannah just said she could hear you just now. Hannah also.
Okay. Mr. Refslin, can you verify that you can hear us online?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay, hello everybody. We are back. Oh, I thought it's on. Hello everyone. We are back, and hopefully the technical problems are fixed.
Let's hope so.
Ms. Visser, are you available to test out your audio?
Yes, I am. I can hear you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much for sticking with us. Thank you everybody who is here. Ms. Visser, I'll have you turn on your camera if you can, and if you can't, that's fine too. We can hear you. That's the important part. Okay, Commissioner Tuma, I will turn it to you again.
Thank you. And thank you to Mr. Refslin. I told you we'd like to partner with the counties, but you're hired as one of our technical helpers from now on. So thank you so much from Renville County. Ms. Visser, I'm going to ask the applicant a question I wanted to make sure you could hear and we could communicate, and I'll finish up by giving you what I'm seeing and then give you a chance to respond to that. And so my understanding, Ms. Brusman, is that when we get to a vegetation management screening plan, you're going to work with the Vissers to put some trees up, maybe finish a wonderful fence row to the north of their property. They have windrow there. Looks like it could be extended a little bit, would block some more of your panels to the north of them across the road. I assume you don't want to build or plant trees right next to your fence line and right in front of your panels when it's to the south of you, so I get that. So there might be some work that you might have to do working with them. Probably not going to be 20-foot trees. We're going to try to help them finish what they've got going on there. And you'll work that out with them as part of our permitting process. If they don't like what's going on, they certainly can complain to the staff or to ERA and make sure that they're following the permit. But my guess is that this permit language, just want to confirm, you are going to be working with them to do some sort of visual mitigation on their property, helping them out, providing them assistance, right?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Tuma, that's correct. And the, I think, updated language that staff has proposed in the revised decision options in 5.1 makes that even clearer. So the visual screening plan will be done in coordination with landowners. Again, as we said in the record, 20-foot trees is just not something realistic that we are able to do. They don't transfer well, but we will certainly work with them on that. And then this language is also even clearer that we will be providing a copy of that plan to all the landowners as well. So the Vissers and other residents who are adjacent to the project. So
This is recent language we have developed in other projects that had issues with landowners. I think the one we're talking about, Sherco Solar, was a landowner that was across the road, and we wanted to make sure that we were working with them. So we wanted to have a little bit more clarity in the language going forward, and you're fine with that language, is my understanding.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Tuma, yes, and I think you've had very similar language in a number of the recent solar projects.
And Ms. Visser, as I want to do, I make sure I take a very close look at the landscape. I like Bird Island. My wife likes Bird Island a lot. She's a quilter. There's a nice little quilt shop there in Bird Island, and so it makes it easier. I can drop her off at the quilt shop, and I can go look at places. And so I've been to Bird Island many times. I live in the rural area, so I'm very sensitive to those impacts. I appreciate your some of your asks here. Some of them we're just not going to do. The valuation questions, the dust control. I'm going to be pretty confident that Mr. Refslin and the folks at Renville County will make sure these guys are not destroying their roads and are treating it fine. Okay, but I've looked at it. I've seen it. I think what I see is nothing unusual. That was the first time I went through here. I didn't see anything that looked unusual from a residential land impact, including your residents. After I saw the filings, I went back and looked closer at it and closer at your property. You have a beautiful house. I can see why you're proud of it, and you want to live there for a while, and you want to make sure that no one's destroying what is a lovely view of the country. So I get that. But I read the independent review that was done by ERA staff on property values. Nothing unusual under the sun that I see here. There could be some valuation loss, but if your neighbor decides to build a really ugly barn there and put it right where you can see it out of your back house, that's going to lower your value too. You can't control what your neighbors are going to do. They just can't be a nuisance to you. And so we wanted to make sure with this permit that they're not. And so actually this developer is willing to do something up and above what would be required of a neighbor if they build an ugly barn back there and they put some stinky turkeys in there. So we're trying to make sure we mitigate those impacts, and I think it's there, okay? But what I've seen from the record is nothing unusual under the sun. The mitigation things that we put in place, which were laid out in the environmental assessment, are being done, but my eyes aren't always perfect. I'm getting old, the gray hair and the eyes are dimming, and I have to have stronger glasses as of a month ago. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So you hear what I'm thinking. I don't know where my fellow commissioners are at. I appreciate that you asked for some of those things, but for me, the thing here is to mitigate the impacts to your property, and that will include a vegetation management plan. I think it's going to cover as far as we need to go under property law here. So, but if I'm missing anything, I want you to have a chance to let me know if I'm out of line. So, Ms. Visser, this is your chance to let me know what I'm not seeing.
We did actually take it a step further, and we shot heights from our backyard. The property that the proposed location that the solar panels are going to be going into is substantially higher on ground than ours. And we did have, like I said, we had heights that were shot to see, where, what the tree barrier would do for us. And if trees were put in, especially not being of height, we are going to see the solar panels, and if they are willing to work with us, one thing that we had come about, my husband and I were talking, and if we could if we could have a berm put up on our property along that northeast line. If the county would approve it, we could even use the dirt from our location. We have a pond. We could extend the size of the pond if it was okay with our county, and then plant the trees on top of that berm. If you're standing on the roadside and not actually coming into our property, you probably wouldn't see the elevation difference, and I'd be more than happy to have you guys out to our place and see what we've done. We've put a lot of money into our backyard for recreational use, and, you know, we do have concerns. I mean, it's going around our property, not so much the people that are exactly involved in putting up the solar panels, where we do feel like we're being affected. We moved out. We used to live in the cities. We came out to Bird Island. We chose to live in the country. Never did we anticipate that we would be looking at solar panels. So, like I said, we do have concerns about it. If they would be willing to work with us on something like this, that would be great. We would more than welcome them to come out to our property and actually see what we're talking about, because unless you're in our backyard, you may not see the height difference, and we'd be more than happy to show you how the heights were shot with lasers and stuff.
Ms. Fester, I appreciate that. They're going to be in your yard, and they're going to visit. That's my understanding, Ms. Brusman. Whether it's going to be a berm or whatever is something you can discuss with them and make sure it follows, obviously, county ordinances. We're not going to prejudge a berm here, whether it's good or a bad idea. I'm not going to prejudge what kind of trees that go there, because I'm not an arborist, okay? I have seen the property behind you, and it really is, it'd be a stretch to call it a hill, okay? It is definitely inclined. It does go up. I've seen it, okay? So, I mean, I'm not surprised by what you're saying, but again, I don't see any unusual impact that is going to be different than what, and this is not our first rodeo. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of homes that are been impacted by solar facilities. And I understand it's a little disconcerting, but in the long run, these property owners next to you are doing what they can do under state law, and they're going to follow a lot of the setback requirements. Not all of them, Mr. Refslin, I understand, but most of the setback requirements and fencing requirements that we've put in place in the past. So I think you'll be actually pleasantly surprised and pleased, because what you're going to have to the north of you is going to be a pollinator-friendly. My understanding, you're going to put pollinator-friendly cover in there, and it's going to be permanent cover to right. Ms. Brusman?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Tuma, yes, we're still responding to the working group's comments on the vegetation management plan, but yes, the intent would be
and
that.
When you construct it, my understanding, you're not just going to go out and mud around out there. You're going to probably have cover already planted so that your vehicles don't destroy the surface as little as possible. That's my understanding. And typically what we expect in construction is that's your plan.
Madam Chair and Commissioner Tuma, that's correct. Typically in project construction, we will precede before we get any construction vehicles, and that's to help with erosion issues, but also to help minimize impacts to neighboring properties.
And in the end, what you're going to find out next fall, or when the first fall that this place is up and running, is that you're not going to get a whole bunch of, crop debris. Spruce, when you grew up in the rural areas, I'm sure Dawson probably got inundated with lots of crop dust and crop debris every fall. That field's not going to produce that. It's going to be producing pollinator-friendly plants that's going to be managed and controlled. And if it's not managed and controlled, we like to hear you complain to us about it, because they're going to be able to, we want them to follow what they're supposed to be doing out there. So I think in the end, you'll find they're going to be good neighbors. They're going to be a little noisy at first. I grew up in an area that is a lot of solar development. I have my house out in the country. I had a solar development come out near me, and I sat on my deck. I heard a lot of pinging going on all summer while they were building it. So it'll be annoying, but they're going to try to minimize that as much as possible and work with the neighbors. But I think you're going to find, at least this commissioner sees no difference than any other impacts that we have, and I think the mitigations hopefully will take care of that. I just want you to understand you are free to, even though we might not agree with the questions you've asked or the decisions you want us, I still think we want you to be a good neighbor there and have an opportunity to work with them. They want to be good neighbors with you. And so please understand, just by not deciding for you, we want you to continue to work through the process. And if you don't feel it's going good, you certainly can complain. We have a complaint process in our permit. So do you understand that?
Yes.
Madam Chair, if I can. The visitors attended both the scoping meeting and the public hearing. I thought asked great questions. We had really good dialogue, and we really appreciate even the work that they've done to start to think about the screening plan. I'm confident we're going to be able to continue to work with them to find a good resolution here. Once we have a more certain design and time frame, I think we will make good progress here.
Great. And Ms. Visser, I guess I would just say, you know, the updated language provides a lot more specificity about how Gopher State will work with you to develop this plan with you. And so you will have this opportunity to kind of show the company exactly what you are interested in, and to the extent that that works for county regulations and for the company, I hope that you will find a plan that really works for both of you. We understand that it's always tough to have new development near your home, and it always affects the investments that you've already made and kind of your vision for your property. But in the scheme of things, I also hope that you'll find this to be one of the best types of development you can have around your home, because ultimately it should be fairly quiet with a lot of vegetation and regulation around visual screening to help make that, you know, a palatable, attractive place. So I know it's tough, and we do take you seriously, and we really want you to work very closely with the company. They will be required to provide us documentation about the communication you have and the input that you all provide to this process. And so this is not the end. You know, I hope you don't feel like you are losing. I think that staff really built out some more specific requirements to make sure that you understand that you do have a continued role to play in negotiating the best outcome for your property with Gopher State. And it appears to me, and you can tell me otherwise, that they seem very open to working with you and finding some solution that you both can agree upon.
Yes, I would agree. We've had great dialogue going back and forth, and I do appreciate that, and I do understand what you are all saying, but you know, I have to voice my concerns for the property that we have and we've built. We've actually physically built the property from the ground up. It's a complete concrete house from the footings all the way to the roof line. It's not an inexpensive home to build, plus the additional work that we've put into it with our backyard and our pond and our shed. And you know, we've had concerns about even hearing the noise and the hum. I don't live in the cities. I live out in the country, so I hope that I'm not hearing that hum, or it will be. I definitely will not be happy with that, to be sitting outside listening to a noise or having the visual effect.
Sure.
Yep. Madam Chair, that's all I have. And again, Ms. Visser, I did drive by your property. It's beautiful. So I saw what you're talking about. I don't begrudge you that. It is a beautiful place, and that much we're trying to preserve. And I think this landowner or neighbor is going to go up and above what other neighbors would have to have done had they developed there. And so I'm ready to move on, Ms. Brusman, if you could. I did do some decision options just to kind of clarify. It got a little confusing. So I put the decision options together as a motion. You should have one in the front there. I don't know if you had a chance to get it. It's basically staff's recommendations that we had developed. And so it shouldn't be a surprise. I wanted to touch base on my decision option, revised decision option A, which is the unintended discovery or surprise discovery of remains. We kind of went back and forth because we have a docket coming later, and we wanted to make sure we were consistent. And so I don't view this as where we should end up in the long run as far as our permit decision options, but I just thought it was more appropriate to make sure we let the lower and upper Sioux know we found some remains there, as opposed to just letting a tribe 300 miles away know about it. So that's what we came up with the solution here. I think the solution in the long run will be maybe some language very close to what you put in your reply comments on page 10, where we talk about the Private Cemeteries Act and our state archaeologists and what those obligations are and what that means and how they will notify the local tribes in my act. So we just thought, for now, let's just put this language in. The likelihood that you're going to find some remains there are going to be pretty minimal. There's not going to be a lot of excavation going on there, but there'll be some. And so that was the language we came up with. We just want to make sure that you're okay with this language.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Tuma, appreciate that explanation. And yes, the Gopher State agrees with that language and the decision options. We were in agreement with staff's recommendations, and I see that they're reflected here with that additional change you just mentioned.
And you are much more efficient at reading than I am, so I wanted to just make sure that this was intended to be the staff recommendations, and if you thought any differently, that would be fine. And the last thing I would say, Mr. Refslin, again, on the on the decommissioning funding, we want to again keep you involved and make sure that you're participating. I just want to make sure, since you are here, if you had any concerns, I know you also had a concern with some of the setback language. We tried to accommodate some of it, but not all of it. So I just wanted to give you a chance to give us your thoughts.
Thank you, Commissioner Tuma. Yes, we'll continue to work with Gopher State, and decommissioning we'll continue to work with, and I think we can find some common ground on this one. Also, setbacks, I think we've got them all met. I know that we like to see a 40-foot corridor from county tile lines. There might be a couple areas that will come to about 38 feet roughly there, and our drainage authority is fine with that number also.
Mr. Refslin, can you retroactively just introduce yourself and state your name?
I'm sorry, yes. Scott Refslund, R-E, F as in Frank, S as in Sam, L-A-N-D, for Renville County.
Thank you so much.
And again, thank you for participating. That's good to hear that you're working towards solutions. That's what I expected. Madam Chair, I'm pretty comfortable where things are at. I think this is your first facility in Minnesota. Is that right?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Tuma, that's correct.
So far, what I've seen of the application, you guys are doing a great job. Okay, and if she hadn't told you that I'm gonna scour the record very closely, I scour the record very closely. And what I saw is what I want to see from developers coming to Minnesota. And what I've seen you demonstrate so far, you have demonstrated that well. And so thank you. And you're doing it the Minnesota way. And so we appreciate that. And so keep up that good work. We'll keep an eye on you. But so far what I'm seeing, I'm pretty impressed with. And so welcome to the great state of Minnesota. Get that thing in the ground. I'm sure I don't know, Commissioner Wickwan is going to ask you how close you are to getting it in the ground. He does ask that question on occasion, so I won't steal his thunder. But what I've seen so far looks very good. So thank you.
Commissioner Hom, do you have anything?
Thank you, Chair Partridge. Yeah, I mean, so typical question either from me or the Commissioner Sullivan is, what is your queue status? I think I already know from the what you put it in the records, but I'll ask you that, and then whether there is an off-taker, because I think there is a PTC is hanging out there with a very short notice. So can you just give us a high level of those answers?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Hom, we are currently in the DPP3 phase of the interconnection study process. We believe we will have an interconnection agreement in place sometime in 2026. Obviously, that's a little bit out of our hands, but that's what we're currently looking at. In regards to offtake, we can state publicly that we're in negotiations with an offtake counterparty, but due to confidentiality requirements of that discussion, we can't go beyond that.
Yeah, I hope that you can be qualified for the PTC and they can be reflected in our ratepayers rate sooner than later. Thank you.
Ms. Livingston, do you have anything you'd like to add? And you can state your name too for the record.
Thank you, Chair Partridge. My name is Jessica Livingston, and I am the Environmental Review Manager for this project here on behalf of the Public Utilities Commission EIP team. I have no other concerns for this project, and I would agree with all Commission staff recommendations.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I will just finish real quick before we make before Commissioner Tuma makes the motion, just to say, I'm sure you're following this, but just we've been, really encouraging developers and utilities to bring projects forward as quickly as possible to try to take advantage of those tax credits. And so in another docket, we've given a little bit of favorable treatment to RECs for projects that can come on before those tax credits expire. So I hope that you're just kind of tracking that, paying attention, and maybe using that to make sure that you're really attractive to off-takers, that they'll get a little bonus there too. So thank you so much and welcome to Minnesota.
I call those partridge privileged points or something?
There you go. Yeah, partridge bonus points.
Yeah, that's right. Or partridge platinum card, maybe.
There we go.
I think the decision option is up. I will just walk through the motion really quick so everybody's clear. It's number one, which is, of course, adopt the LJ report. Two is to adopt the scoping as complete, and it was. Good job for ERA. Thank you. The site permit, number 5, is the tribal stuff that we just talked about. And then 5C, then 5G, 5J, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, and U. And the applicant is all agreed to as part of their exceptions too. So, and then number 6, which is the typical language to allow some flexibility to draft the permit language up after we've done our order, and then just some modifications to the ALJ's findings so that they reflect the decisions we're making today. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Ms. Rusman, that's your understanding is what we're in front of us today you agree with, right?
Chair Partridge, Commissioner Tuma, yes.
You already heard from Doc ERA, that's what they agreed to, right?
Yes.
So that's my motion.
All right. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. We will move on to our second item. Give everybody a minute to change seats. All right, good morning. Our next item is Coneflower Energy, another solar project. Mr. Eck will introduce our item today.
Good morning, Chair Partridge, Commissioners. Item number 2 is docket IP-7132/GS-24-215 in the matter of the application of Coneflower Energy LLC for a site permit for the up to 235 megawatt Coneflower solar project in Lyon County, Minnesota. The questions before the Commission are: should the Commission adopt the administrative law judge's findings of fact, conclusion of law, and recommendation? Should the Commission determine that the environmental assessment and the record created at the public hearing adequately address the issues identified in the scoping decision? And should the Commission grant a site permit for the 235 megawatt Coneflower solar project in Lyon County? And staff is available for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Eck. how about we start by just having parties introduce themselves, and we'll start over here on my right. Please state your name. Yes, far right. Your left, yeah.
Good morning. Bree Anderson, Senior Director of Project Permitting for Apex Clean Energy.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. Sean Stocker, Senior Vice President of Development for Apex Clean Energy.
Christy Brusvin, outside counsel, appearing on behalf of Coneflower Energy, LLC.
Good morning. Lauren Agnew, appearing on behalf of PUC EIP as the Environmental Review Manager for Coneflower.
Thank you, Chair Partridge. Kevin Pranis on behalf of Lyon, Minnesota, and North Dakota.
Excellent. All right. Commissioner Tuma, would you like to start with questions?
Sure, just real quick, look at the easy one. I'm assuming the tribal language that we had in the last one, but they're different company is fine by them.
Chair Partridge, Commissioner Tuma, yes, it is.
Let's dive into labor stuff. Mr. Pranis and Ms. Brusman, I understand that you had some discussions. Just want to confirm that the language in the August 6th letter that we received from Ms. Brusman is acceptable to the labor folks. Mr. Pranis?
Thank you, Chair Seaman, Commissioner Tuma. Yes, that language is acceptable. We think it accomplishes and we appreciate the work of staff. Did a nice job we didn't provide language. Staff did, I think, a great job of coming up with something. I think the adjustments that we agreed to make it avoid confusion.
And I would be remiss without asking this question, even though the chair is absent, so she kind of wanted to know what is the status of the project as far as the labor work, labor activities, and whether you're developing any agreements with labor at this stage or what your plans are.
Commissioner Tuma, it's a little early right now for labor. We're not to the construction scheduling point, so we're still probably a year or two away from that. But we've had good conversations with Lyon and look forward to working with their members.
We've got some good contractors here in Minnesota know how to do this stuff, so hopefully you're giving them an opportunity to bid and bid in well. So,
Commissioner Tuma, I have a couple points on that before we move on. So it is not very common for Lyon to appear and request that we add requirements onto a developer to ensure that they are working with local labor. I've not been a commissioner for long, but this is the first I've seen it. So this is a bit of an outlier for me and puts a little bit of a red flag up. So I just want to put a finer point on it that Minnesota statute, both the old statute and the new, require us to consider local labor. And it actually instructs us to make modifications or reject projects based on that evaluation if we determine that that's not being addressed adequately. So it is a serious consideration. It is not just a, political pet that we have here. It is part of our statutory framework and our requirement as commissioners when we evaluate these projects. So I do hope that you're taking that very seriously, and we will continue to monitor these status reports as they come in.
Chair Partridge, I appreciate that. And I hope you also had a chance to look at the reply comments that we filed in this docket. For Coneflower, the commitment on having contractors utilize union labor has been unwavering. The concern that Lyon brought forward in this docket was related to a project in North Dakota. And as we provided in reply comments, Apex has used union labor in a number of projects throughout their portfolio across the country. We appreciate the opportunity to work with Mr. Pranis to narrow in here in this docket, but I just want to assure you that we've always taken it seriously and will continue to do so.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tuma.
Next up, Ms. Agnew, we still have some issues, discussion around the community impact mitigation agreement. That I tend to side with where the ALJ landed on this. I mean, I like to see them be in our communities, and I like to see them making contributions and becoming a community member. So I'm going to ask them first, kind of where that is at. I get a little nervous about ordering it, but it certainly does help me get past some of the impact questions when I know that they're being community members and getting involved. So where are things at, Ms. Rusman, or what's going on in the local community?
Chair Partridge and Commissioner Tuma, again, Apex has been a strong community member in this area, and we saw great feedback from landowners and community members at our public hearing and in the scoping comments. They've been active, they've participated with nonprofits and other local community organizations, and we're going to continue to do so. Our pushback on the mitigation fund itself was it seemed to be an outlier, especially based on this record where we have such strong community engagement.
And so, just hearing a commitment, you're going to continue to support the local baseball teams or whatever. Or is that my understanding? Is you're going to still be in the community? I can go out and maybe see Apex softball shirts or whatever. I don't know what you're doing, but give me some assurances that you're going to be continuing to give back to the community like other businesses in the area.
Commissioner Tuma, we have been and continue to today and will into the future. Absolutely, it's part of a bit what differentiates Apex from some other developers in the country is that we get involved early. Well, before there's even really a project, and we're proud of that, and we'll continue to do that at this project.
Commissioner Tuma, I just would weigh in to say that I agree with you. I don't think there's a need for a plan here. It didn't look like this recommendation came from the local community, and so I think it seems difficult to see how it would be enforceable and kind of unclear what it would be. So I agree with you that may be unnecessary in this case.
Next, I want to dive down a little bit in the setbacks, kind of your county relations. I did some reading a little more in depth on this one, and I kind of found it interesting. I think there's a county commissioner that was right next to the property, had some discussion with you all, and he had concerns about what happens if a hailstorm comes through, and I think you answered it well, okay, from what I saw. But again, that's not in the record. It's in the what I read in the papers, okay, which I will do on occasion. And so I just want to get kind of a feedback where you're at as far as working with neighboring landowners and developing plans. Our county officials are important to us. I view them as important. It seems to be you've got a good working relationship with them. So just give me an update, kind of where you are working with the landowners in the counties on, setbacks and mitigation plans. What stage are you at, and then how is that working?
Commissioner Tuma, we've designed this project to meet all of the Lyon County setbacks in their renewable energy ordinance, and we continue to work with county and landowner partners.
And I'm assuming you've been continue to have conversations. I don't want to get into what happens if a hailstorm happens, but I found it interesting and a concern that they would have. And I'm assuming because they're not here screaming that you're working with them and helping them through that. I think this is a really good place for a development. It makes sense where it's at. I'm learning a lot more about how you envision it going. And one of those visions is a interconnection. To be honest with you, I first went out there. I'm pretty sure there's a peaker plant there, so I just made the assumption that you're plugging into the peaker plant, and I learned differently as the record developed. And so help me out. Where are you kind of at? I don't want to steal your thunder, Commissioner but we have I'm looking at it mostly from a siting and routing. We have to do that too. So help me out. Would you anticipate the two routes that you have talked about for interconnection? Will they both need commission approval? That's my first question.
Chair Partridge and Commissioner Tuma, no. So the interconnect at Garvin, we should be able to, I think, accommodate. But I'm sorry, that flipped. That flipped. The Lyon County we could accommodate without. The Garvin will need a short route permit, which we would then come to the commission to apply for.
So say that again. I lost you. So
because I confused.
If the Garvin Xcel facility is built, you may need a permit for that.
Correct. We'll need a short route permit.
Okay. And how far away was it? I should have looked this up. I kind of know where your facility ends there north of Garvin. How far? I thought that was kind of in the same neighborhood as the substation. How far away is the substation?
Less than a mile.
Less than a mile. Okay. Yeah. And I should have looked that up. I promised Commissioner Partridge I wouldn't be putting maps outside.
Chair Partridge, Commissioner Tuma, the Garvin substation itself is just to the east of the project footprint, but the substation for the facility to be efficient with collection is more central to the solar farm footprint. And that's why we need the short interconnecting line.
But the other route, you would connect to the 115 that runs on the northern boundary of your property, and you believe you'll be able to do some sort of connector at that, right where it touches your property.
Chair Partridge, Commissioner Tuma, correct.
That's helpful. It's interesting because when I walked out there, I made an assumption that you're connecting to the gas facility there.
Chair Partridge, Commissioner Tuma, there are other facilities also proposed in the area.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm assuming because you use the same gas line, but that's all not important. My thinking is to offer the staff's recommendation, okay, with the labor agreement that you've did, so T would be adjusted and then Tuma's 9. That's what I'm thinking. Are we missing anything, Ms. Rusman?
Chair Partridge, Commissioner Tuma, no, we are also supportive of staff's recommendations with your modification to the adding the tribes into that condition and our modified 6T.
Ms. Agnew, are you okay with that at this stage? I mean, we had some talk about the setbacks in the community plan, but
Yes, environmental review is fine with those.
Excellent. That's all the questions I have, and when you're ready for a motion, I'll be happy to make one.
Hold on. I will just add, and I'm sure you heard this, that again, we are really encouraging developers and utilities to move quickly. I was really excited to see that you have an estimate in service date of 2027. Is that right?
Pending MISO studies, correct.
Okay, well, Godspeed and best of luck. And I was just notified that the final order of those bonus recs just came out today, and we hope that that helps you to encourage, whatever productive conversations with off-takers for an agreement, and that you're able to get that in service quickly. So with that, Commissioner Tuma, you've made your motion. Is that clear for Mr. Graham? Any discussion or questions? No? Okay. Everyone in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? And congratulations. Thank you. All right. Are you all okay to keep going to the third item? Okay. All right, we'll let everyone change seats and move to item number 3.
She could probably write this next order. No offense to what you have to do. This one's pretty easy.
Do we not have Xcel?
We chased him out.
Okay. All right.
So many people are really noisy.
Oh, here we do. We have Xcel. Okay, sorry. Yes, please. I thought maybe you weren't coming. I was like, they're not coming to this. Okay, that's fine. All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. Mr. Gomez will introduce item number 3.
Good morning, Chair Partridge and Commissioners. Item number 3 is docket number E002/M-25-184 in the matter of Xcel Energy's annual report on its Renewable Connect pilot, flex, and long-term programs. The question before the Commission is, should the Commission accept the Renewable Connect pilot, flex, and long-term programs compliance filing and track report and approve the associated revised tariff sheets, rates, and neutrality charges? I have no further remarks, but I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's have the parties introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Ms. Steinhauser.
Good morning, Lauren Steinhauser on behalf of Xcel Energy.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. Jamie McAllister, Minnesota Department of Commerce. With me today, I have Rachel Widowich in person, and online we have Andy Bond.
Thank you. Commissioner Hom, any questions from you to start?
Thank you, Chair Patrick. I have a question to company, a few things, a little bit outside this scope of today's decision, but I read that company is having trouble taking people in the wait list off, even though you have unsubscribed energy. What is the most recent status and why is it keep going on?
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Hom. I believe in our original report, we had reported over 1,000 folks in the wait list. In our reply comments, we talked about how we were working through that. It's a combination of manual processing and some service policy issues that we have worked really quickly to resolve. As of last week, I believe it was last week, our numbers are under 300 on the wait list, and we're trying to get confirmation, but I think within the next couple of weeks, we would be through that huge group. Obviously, it's a wait list, so there will continue to be folks getting added, but through that large number of customers, we should be through that.
Okay, thank you. So end of the May report was 800 some, so now it's below 300, so big progress. But I hope everybody's off since you guys have unsubscribed energy there.
Commissioner Hom, we're working as quickly as we can to get them off of that, yes.
Okay. And then additional question is, there was some, when you were discussing about neutrality charges, so a big portion of that is due to the line losses, and then there is some discussion about curtailment cost. So what type of line losses are you using to calculate that number? Is it system-wide line losses? Because it is fluctuating, so I was wondering how you calculate those numbers.
Chair Partridge, Commissioner Hom, I have with me Nick Pollock today, who has a much better understanding of the line loss calculation than I do, so I would invite him to come up.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Pollock, and just remember to state your name. Thank you.
Nick Pollock for Xcel Energy. I think I heard your question as how the line losses are calculated. That is a system average that we use as an annual calculation for the Renewable Connect programs.
So that was my guess, but I think these customers are using in theory, only those renewable. Why are they paying for the other line losses? That's why I was wondering. I understand the concept of neutrality, so everybody has to be equal, but I was a little bit confused connecting those two dots.
Yeah, we don't have information for line losses relating to specific resources. So I think the system line loss number that we use is sort of the best information that we have available to us. And, it does reflect that, these resources are, out in the field, a ways. They go through the transmission system and then also the distribution system, like the rest of our, fossil fuel plants.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question is about the curtailment charges. So I'm sure then it's not company-owned asset you are assigning to this program. So it must be a PPA. So under that PPA, there's a provision on the curtailment payment?
Yeah, there are a number of resources, of course, across all of our suite of Renewable Connect programs. And so we do have one general rate for that. Honestly, we had to make an educated guess as to the rate. I think we're learning a lot more about curtailment. It is a sort of a dynamic thing that the system is undergoing. But we do try to reflect the terms of those contracts when we made made the pricing, yes.
Okay, thank you. I mean, that's another reason we are emphasizing on that utility should work on the GATS and all other small limiter fixing at your system so we can limit the amount of curtailment and congestion. I hope, I know Xcel is trying hard, and last several years I was watching it, and then I hope you keep doing it and to make sure that we are limiting and minimizing those curtailment and our congestions. That's it.
Commissioner Tuma, any questions or comments from you? And none from me. Commissioner Hom, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I would like to move decision option 1 and 3.
A, B, and C.
Yeah, all part of it.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. And that concludes the agenda meeting for today. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Good job, Audrey.